right, this is a quick overview of the SCOBot runtime. If you're new to SCORM, I'm going to try to keep this like super basic, and then if you are more technically advanced, sorry, just kidding. But yeah, we'll go through a little bit of this, but I want to keep this kind of high level. We can absolutely get on a call if we get into something super nitty gritty if you have further questions. The runtime package comes with some sample services. I've got Node.js built out a bit more. PHP also supported. So again, I get a lot of requests for .NET, Ruby, Python. There's a lot. So trying to support all of them is a little tricky. But this kind of helps you get there. The other thing I'm going to call out is the example I'm going to show you in the background. That's all deployed serverless right now on AWS. So I'm actually using some of the things in the background that we're going to be that are included in the package. So the lesson viewer that's provided here, again, you have your own platform or you've already got a platform and maybe it's just out of support and you can't get anybody to fix it. This is a quick way to get around some of that. So there's a sample jQuery package. This was the original that allows you to actually preview what a lesson viewer does, how to implement the API by example. It actually includes some base kind of native JavaScript examples as much as possible. I tried to keep a relationship with jQuery, but at the same time I had some people doing native, so native JavaScript that is. So I tried to be open-ended on that. There's a sample Angular that uses the newest, when I say newest version of the runtime, they're both 3 and 4 are supported. However, 4 was the one that's framework independent. So if your dev team is using TypeScript or just JavaScript native, or if they're using a framework like Vue, React, or Angular, or etc., they can use that as a general example to kind of move forward. So you'll get the JavaScript files. There's SCORM 1.2 and 2004. You're going to get the documentation related and updates that have occurred. That generally just helps you know what's there in case you want to upgrade or not. And then lastly, there's a cross-domain piece to this because JavaScript cannot communicate between two web domains. Again, keeping this simple, you're going to end up with a CORS violation, which is a cross-origin request happening between. And that's just a malicious thing for cross-site security. Just be aware of that. So this domain, NGX domain, is an Angular project that gets built out, and you put this with your content and then call it from your platform, and then it enables SCORM communication. So that's just an extra thing to have there. All right, so you can self-sign up on angular.scobot.net and go at your own pace. So if you have a package you want to test out, or if you're even a content designer, that's why I built this. So you can go ahead and sign up, and it should basically just email you a code, verify yourself, and then allow you to use the system. You can come down here and upload zips. Basically just find the zip on your system and upload it. If there's a problem with it, it'll generally tell you, and then I also get an alert. Hopefully it's not going off at 2 a.m. Haha. But if it is, then I'll get it to it in the morning, and you can always reach out to me if you'd like, because I can normally review it and tell you what's wrong with it. I'm trying to get that more solidified, that way it doesn't involve me, but I know generally having a bad experience trying to figure out why your content doesn't work on other systems and then coming here and having that same thing happen, you're just basically left guessing. So yeah, trying to get that a little bit better so you can get some feedback. The module demo here is completely static, but this would be that scenario that you have a table of contents and then you'd have content that would load here. This would be an example of that. I added my own stepper component here so you could kind of go through your own demo and see what parts of SCORM are communicating, and I just broadly brought it up to choosing the content, starting SCORM, learning, saving, and ending. I felt that was a little bit easier than getting into the nitty-gritty technical details of what's really going on in the background. And then, of course, as you step through some content, you can interact with it. And then stuff like activities and games and otherwise, you can come in here and play. So I started to do, template-based kind of like stuff like this, thinking that somebody might be interested in it. Generally had a few pings, but I felt like there's so many other third-party systems out there that do a good job at this. I didn't want to cut myself into several different pieces here and cut myself thin, if you will. So yeah, this is where that's at. So let's step back. If you upload your own content, you're going to see something like a card show up here. This gives you the opportunity to play with student preferences if the content supports it. So that would be turning up and down volume, changing video playback speed, language potentially, or turning closed captioning on or off. So again, if the content doesn't react to that, don't feel bad. It's just something it either does or will not do. There was no law enforcement there. And then if you want to experience the cross-domain scenario, you can turn that off and on. So there's just a few config settings there. If you want to reset yourself, you can absolutely do that. All the attempts will be tracked, so if you want to download that attempt, just click that button, it'll download, and then you can review the JSON file. That's just a bunch of key value pairs and some markup, but mainly it's all of the SCORM pieces that we were mainly talking about here, and that's something you can get familiar with. It's not completely necessary to know every single in and out, because the API should be taking care of most of that for you, but I commonly get asked, why could it be incomplete and passed, for example, or passed and incomplete? And SCORM had two scenarios with that. Generally, incomplete or complete meant progress through the pages that you're looking at, and then passed or failed generally was based on the score over here. So yeah, it gets a little tedious. That's why I'm choosing to display it to you like this, but you may choose to hide that from your users, and I would totally understand that because it can get confusing. I even tried to go with this this in progress scenario, or finished and finished failed. That way it was turning colors. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. That's generally why I don't push you in a UI direction per se, but this could have been cards, this could have been a list, it could have been, you know, some type of catalog. You could have just actually left buttons here to independently switch between all these types of views, just depending on your desire. So yeah, know that. And then there's a sample package up here. If you don't have one, you can click this one and it should download. I think that's going to Dropbox. So yeah, that'll bring down a SCORM 1.2 package that would be this one. And the video will start playing here. And then as you notice here, like YouTube supports both quality settings, closed captioning, and playback speed. So this is the playback speed I'm talking about. So I actually put those in here so this video could play super fast or super slow, just showing off the capabilities. And then of course here you could mark passed and then hit done, and it'll bring you back here showing that this is completed, passed at 100%. All right, so again, feel free to test out your own content. Feel free to reach out if you want to go deeper. Hopefully, if you have a problem, you will reach out to me. And again, watch your spam filter. If you've contacted me and I've responded and you just feel like I haven't responded, I would just check that. Again, email's been around for 20 years, much like SCORM. You would think it all works, but yeah. All right, I will leave it there, and I hope everybody has a great day.